That's my. I don't know if my mic had moved there, but potentially I may have been talking for the last 15 minutes and you haven't heard anything of what I've said. Which is not unusual with OBS, as it did it last time, for whatever reason, which is really annoying. It's just like it constantly does it to me. It always does it to me every time I record a video. At some point, bam, it will mute my mic, and I don't know whether my mic has been muted for the last 15 minutes and you haven't been hearing anything of what I've said. The only time I'm going to find out is at the end of the video, so if you have missed what I've talked about, I've talked about SCS and Squirrel, EA and whoever else. But seriously, if it's done that, I'm going to look through my OBS settings and look what is causing my mic to constantly keep muting and unmuting itself, because it is really driving me up the wall. And I really do not know what it is, because it's never done it to me before. I have not got the foggiest what it could be. It's just a very annoying thing. Right, there we go. let me check again that it hasn't muted itself, which it hasn't at the moment. But seriously, if it has muted itself, I'm going to write to OBS, post a thing on their forum saying about that and see if anyone has the same problem as me, because as I said, it's driving me up the wall. And the frame drops in this part of the map are quite a lot, especially in the ferry, even if you have a decent machine. So it's not a lot I can do about it. But as I said earlier, I'm contemplating whether I want to do another video of Homicide 2 or wait till I get Farm Sim 15, or possibly do a video of Train Sim. But I don't know at the moment. Yeah, and the FPS through the tunnel drops quite a lot as well, even if I turn my lights off. So for some reason the FPS generally through tunnels is really bad, and then sort of through the motorway it's actually alright. But I'm going to talk about before I talk about, yeah, it's not mute, luckily. I'm going to talk about the last couple of minutes Homicide 2. So I've worked out a lot more about Homicide 2 now. Yeah, I played about 120 hours of that game, but probably about 60 hours of that is trying to get stuff to work and whatever. And to be honest, it's because I went into it too fast. I didn't read the manual properly, I never looked at tutorials on how to do stuff, and it took me ages to work out what my problems were and sort them out. If I had known from the start what the problems were and how to do stuff, it would have only taken me probably a couple of weeks to sort of learn the game properly. But it's basically taken me all this year to learn it, pretty much, which is really annoying. So, but at the end of the day, everyone's allowed to make mistakes, and you live and learn every day, don't you? So there's not a lot you can do. But I think you would agree that this sound mod for this DAF does sound pretty cool. And as I say, I'll try and link them below. I just have to completely update my mod list and whatever and save it, and so I'll have it for every video and keep updating it every time new mods come out that are incompatible, because my current one is so out of date. I mean, really out of date. So I'll update it and hopefully it should be okay. Oh, and I forgot to say also, I did actually check the mic isn't muted again, which it isn't, which is good. I did actually buy a external hard drive last Sunday. It's a Seagate expansion 2TB hard drive, and it has in total on it 1.8 GB of space. And I basically use that to put various Steam games on there, especially Homicide 2, as it needs that space to load in its maps. As you know, the map loading system in that game is completely what is the best way to describe it? It's another cluster mine is all you can describe it, really. So it has very serious problems. It has very serious problems. Let's put it that way. Because the problem is this type of game, right? All the scenery is preloaded, and basically it's all sort of a couple of pieces. the problem with Homicide 2 is the way it's structured. Is that if you imagine, if I'm driving down here, the game has to load in stuff, but it's preloaded, so it's okay. It's only in a couple of pieces. The way Homicide is constructed, I'm still using hand signals, even though you can't see me do this. Basically, it's all built up in complete and utter pieces. So every object is in a piece, and it has to individually load them in to try and get them to it has to individually load them in when you go past them, and that causes extreme FPS problems. And even if you do what I did, which is let the map have space to load in stuff, it still causes lag problems. And it's because of the way it's constructed. The map is constructed in several different pieces, several small little pieces, and it doesn't preload it. Even if you click load the whole map at the start, it still isn't properly preloaded, so it's loading in as you drive past and causing, every time you go in and out of views, having to load it all back in causes serious frame issues. So the only way you can really solve that is by having a massive hard drive dedicated to Homicide 2 and having really good specs and sort of having the graphics not too high. But even so, then you're still going to have problems. There's no real way you can get around it. So yeah, basically the way it's structured is completely wrong, and it's the same problem in Train Simulator. The problem is, even though it's not structured, the scenery is not structured in several different pieces, it doesn't preload things, so it has to load it all back in as you go in and out of views and look around, and then as the same causes serious frame issues. And that game, the reason that game does that is because its engine is super old, whilst Homicide's engine is, as far as I know, it's fairly new, so for it to have that problem is a bit annoying. But the thing with Train Simulator is it's kind of stable, whilst the Homicide 2 game is not stable in the way that it doesn't, as I say, it's just not very stable. And Homicide 1 doesn't really have that problem, as it was kind of better structured. You know, the structuring wasn't perfect, it didn't cause, every time something loaded in, massive frame drops, because the coding was right. Whilst the coding with Homicide 2, for whatever reason, is completely broken. So even through the patches, it's just made it worse. So basically, you keep having, as I said, you keep driving along, and it has to keep loading things in and causes constant FPS problems. So, and to be honest, the only map it doesn't have to do that is the driving test map, because it's so small. But every other map it has to individually load it in, and it's just stupid. I mean, I'm sorry, but who in their right mind had the idea that idea of things loading in individually work? Because it doesn't really make the map easy to make in the first place, does it? Because if you think about it, I'll quickly explain this before I stop the video here. If you structure it in a couple of pieces, then it's not hard, but you have to do in individual pieces, work out what this needs and what that needs. It just makes it harder for the map maker, worse for the user, and harder for the game company, people that make it, to get it to work properly. And it's just a complete and utter problem. It just doesn't turn out well for anybody, does it? So yeah, but I'll discuss more of that in another video. But anyway, for now, thanks very much for watching. Make sure to comment, like and subscribe, it's all appreciated. But for now, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.